Hello everyone, welcome back to the homestead. Today I thought I would take you along for a typical morning garden walk. It is one of the most important ways that we manage our gardens here on the homestead. I'm a planner, so I love to plan, and there is definitely a place for planning ahead in the garden. Specifically, we plan ahead what we're going to grow, how much, and where we're going to plant things. We even plan a little bit along the lines of preserving and how much we hope to preserve for the year, but most everything else we don't really plan. We just go out as often as we can, usually in the mornings, and sometimes we have a lot of time, sometimes we have very little time. And we do garden walks and just walk around and make a mental note, and then oftentimes come back inside and write things down, thinking about all the priorities of things that need to be done in the gardens. During the really early garden season, sometimes all we need to do is just a weekly walk, but this time of year there is a lot going on in the gardens, and so it's pretty much every day. And most of what we're looking for are things that you can't really plan ahead for because there's so many variables in the garden based on what the weather is, the pest pressure for that year, what's performing well, what's not performing so well, and on and on. There's so many variables. So we found that just a day-by-day process of walking through the gardens and making notes has worked best for us. So we're going to put on the screen now a list of the kind of things that we're looking for as we walk through the gardens. We're looking for things that need to be pruned, things that are ready to be harvested, flowers that need deadheaded, areas that need weeding, plants that need to be debugged, things that need to be planted or transplanted, possible composting opportunities, what needs fertilized, seeds that are dry and ready to be saved, areas that need water. We're also looking for animal food, figuring out trellising and managing trellising, looking for areas in the pathways that need to be maintained, little areas that need cleaned up. We're looking for opportunities for tea making, so we're checking all of our herbs to see which ones are ready for making into cold pressed tea. We think about beds that need to be prepped and maybe gotten ready for the next crop to go in if we've taken one crop out and a new crop is ready to go in. We're checking to see how our covers are doing and managing the covers, whether it be for keeping things warmer when it's really cold or keeping bugs off. We're looking for areas that need to be mulched. And we even look at our flowers and make a plan for some bouquets that we might be able to put together later in the day. And I may have forgotten a few other things, but basically we're just checking everything out, enjoying the beauty as we go, and we're so thankful for all that's going on in the gardens this time of year. Usually Esther Pie comes with me. However, she is not as excited to be on camera these days as she used to be. So she won't be on camera much today, but she is usually by my side through these walks, and it's a time that we really enjoy together. Just spending time together and planning for the day, for the week, and just really enjoying these beautiful spaces. So come with me into the gardens, and I'm going to be looking around for what can be done today to manage our gardens and to make them more productive and more of a pleasant place to be. So starting out here in the backyard, there's not a whole lot to do as far as weeding goes. There's a little bit in this bed here. Not too bad though. I recently weeded these pathways pretty well, but there is a lot of purslane coming up now. It's the season for purslane, this little plant here. So I think I'm going to harvest some of this today because the ducks absolutely love it. And we like to feed whatever we can of the weeds in the garden to the birds. Other things we like to feed to the animals are things like yellow wood sorrel, chickweed, lamb's quarter. There's lots of things growing in the garden, especially the things growing in the pathways that we'd like to use for feeding the animals and just supplementing some of their feed that they get. Moving around the backyard here, you can see that I could probably gather some of this yarrow for a bouquet because it's just hanging in the pathway. That would make a beautiful bouquet. There's a little bit of weeds in here that I need to get, but not too bad. We just redid this pathway here around the back of the garden, but we didn't quite finish. So around the back here, we need to finish the pathway and get rid of all these weeds. So that's something that's on the list for the week. I don't know if we'll get to it today, but it's on the weekly list. This was just put in here, this little pathway. It's just super nice. The Annabelle hydrangea is doing amazing. I did just bring a bouquet in yesterday. We love to gather those panicles and bring them inside. They're so beautiful. So here's another area that could be weeded. This is our area where we have all our hot peppers growing. So I need to get in here and weed a little bit in that space. And as we come back around toward the side garden here, our white garden's looking pretty good. Don't really need to do anything in there. But here's something that needs done. This is our red bud, and I need to prune these branches here that are hanging low over this bed because we've got a little steady Eddie viburnum in here that needs more sunshine. So I'm going to prune back these branches here that are hanging low, and that'll make perfect compost. So I'll add that to our compost once we've pruned those. I won't put the really thick branches, but just the smaller branches, and all the leaves can go in the compost. So moving along here, just checking everything out. It looks like we've got an abundance of spearmint growing into the pathway here. So that will be a good one to harvest for some cold pressed tea. Got a little bit of deadheading to do in here of the cosmos, just to keep them looking beautiful. This has actually been something I've been needing to get to for a long time. All this salvia needs to be trimmed back. It self-seeds, so I need to get some of these old seed heads taken off and just tidy it up a little bit. So there's many of those throughout the garden that I'll need to get to. Let's see, moving along. There's not a whole lot to do out here, except for this bed here. We had a bunch of fall planted onions that have gone to seed, and some kale and collards gone to seed. And I noticed just this morning, earlier, that some of this seed is all dry and ready to be gathered up. It is a little overcast today, and it's still a bit damp from past rain. We may have rain later today, so I may have to wait a few days till we get some sunshine and those dry out a little bit more before I gather them. But I don't want to miss my opportunity, so I kind of made a mental note to be watching those, and once they're super dry and crunchy, then we can bring those inside and get them packaged up for next year. And moving along, there's one thing I noticed over here that I need to take care of. We've got a sedum that is completely buried. There it is. And so I need to cut back some more of this yarrow and give it some more space, because I really like the sedum that's in there, and I don't want it to be destroyed by all these vigorous other plants. And over here, I don't know if you remember, this used to be a big crazy wisteria plant, and so the other day I just got really tired of pruning. I had pruned it twice already. I have spent hours and hours and hours trying to keep up with the wisteria. It was starting to just fall on the ground and reroot and grow new plants all over the place. And in the, I think, 11 years we've had it, it has not bloomed but maybe twice, and just a couple little blooms. And so sometimes it's really hard to get rid of things that you just keep hoping they'll be beneficial and they'll produce, but I just decided on a whim to get rid of it. So Nate came out here with a chainsaw and sawed it off and hauled it away. I'm thankful that it's gone. It's a nice open space here, and hopefully we're still going to put a little pergola and sitting area in this spot, but instead of the wisteria growing over it, we're going to have hopefully more grapes growing over this space. So I'm glad I got rid of it. So the apples are another thing that I've been really checking on a lot. We're thinning them out little by little, and they're getting close to being fully thinned, but we still need to thin them a little bit more. Coming back here, I noticed we've got bug damage on our uncovered cabbages. Look at these poor things. So I'm really not sure what to do. I may just sacrifice them and feed them to the animals because it looks like they're a little bit too far gone. Cabbages are one of those things that we usually always have under cover, but we had a bunch of extra cabbage this year, so we just kind of plugged it in this spot, and there is no cover here, so it's okay. Sometimes you lose some food to the bugs, and it's really not a loss because the chickens are gonna love it, and what they don't eat goes into the compost in the chicken yard, and eventually we'll go back into the soil and make more cabbage maybe next year. So back here is where we've got compost that we're building. Our girls are playing something. They have little nesting playing areas all over the homestead, so it's kind of fun to see what they've been up to. But this is the one I'm working on presently. I just did some apple pruning yesterday to get the branches out of the pathways, so that's what's on top right now. And one thing we need to do, hopefully later today, is get a little bit more water on this compost. Because it's got a roof on it, it does not get much rain unless the rain is going sideways. So we do have to water this compost from time to time. So that's something that needs to be done. Going through our little orchard area here, looking to see what might need done. There's usually always weeding that can be done in these pathways back here. Oh, I know. We have an asparagus bed that it gets no sunlight anymore because of all the trees here, so we need to pull out the weeds and mulch it and hopefully keep what asparagus is in here still alive until we can transplant it next year. Looks like Esther's raspberries need to be harvested. Probably can't see it on camera, but she's got raspberries back in there. I see a few that need to be harvested. Coming back around. I need to encourage my little ones to come and weed their garden pathway here. It's getting quite weedy. And coming back around this direction, need to check on all of our squash for squash bugs and squash bug eggs. We try and check as often as we can, but sometimes we miss them. Like right here, we've got some that just hatched out. So I missed checking these yesterday and need to check them all. Boy, these nasturtiums are almost hiding. The squash are just buried in the nasturtiums. I might need to prune these nasturtiums back a little bit to give more space for the squash. Alright, now we're coming back around toward the front of the garden here, and I wanted to check on our bush beans, our first planting of Kalima bush beans over here. See if we've got any on here yet. Lots of blooms. Oh, there's some teeny baby ones. There's a little teeny baby one. Looks like they're not ready to harvest quite yet, almost. But our cabbages, looks like we can start to grab a couple of those. They're doing really well in here. Some of them are getting pretty big. None of these are large varieties. They're all a much smaller, early to mature variety. So the heads are not going to get huge. So I think we can maybe start to harvest from these. Over here is a little spot that needs cleaned up. Our little ones made a little play area under our honeyberries, and there's all kinds of fun stuff under there that I keep meaning to tell them to clean up. So hopefully I can remember to have the girls clean that up today. I'm gonna head up to the main crop now, but first here's something else I need to do is transplant these little plants. I'm not even sure what they are. They're esters into these little pots here. There's two of them that have been in pots for a very long time, and I think we're just going to tuck them in to those pots there. So out here in the main crop we have broccoli that's ready to harvest. We've already harvested a bunch of the cauliflower. It's mostly done, but the broccoli is definitely ready, and we're really loving fermenting both of these. I think broccoli and cauliflower and probably green beans are our favorite veggies to ferment, so that's how we're preserving them mostly, and then of course eating them fresh as well. garden's becoming a jungle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much going on. Some of our pathways are completely hidden by the potato plants. We've also got some kohlrabi that we're harvesting from, so I'll probably get a couple of the biggest ones of those. Helping the pea get back on the trellis.
Yeah.
Some things naturally climb the trellis by themselves, like these purple pole beans. But other things like cucumbers and squash, especially, kind of have to help them along.
Yeah.
Over here we have trying butternut squash along the trellis instead of on the ground this year. So I had to just kind of wrap it up and around the trellis, get it going. So here is an example of squash that needs to be helped in trellising. I had to help it get started, and once you get it started then it tends to keep going up the trellis, but it takes a little bit of work to get it going. So we have a bunch of squash growing on trellises this year. We wanted to try and see if the winter squash does better going up trellises than on the ground. We'll see. It's going to be an experiment. Here's an example of pathway maintenance that needs done. We've got some random chunks of wood just sitting in here. Needs cleaned up. We've got beets ready to harvest, so probably gonna grab a few of those to add to our salmon patty salad for dinner tonight. Alright, so now we're in the greenhouse, and even though it's not fully built and enclosed yet, we haven't had a whole lot of bug pressure in here, so there hasn't been a lot of maintenance. Abby's got some squash, we've got lots of potatoes growing, and then some cucumbers down at the other end, and very few bugs. So that's been a blessing. Eventually, when this whole greenhouse is enclosed, we're hoping that the bug pressure will be very small in here, but we'll see.
So one of the garden projects I need to do is fill up this comfrey barrel.
Yep, he's already got a nice little spigot installed on it, and so we're just gonna fill it up with comfrey and a little bit of leaf mold, and that'll be for fertilizing everything here in the main crop.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's one of the projects that is on Caleb's to-do list. Here's something else that needs done. We don't really have enough tomato cages, so we're just using these old electric fence posts. So I need to come in and string up these tomatoes on these poles. I already put one string on, but they're growing so fast, so I need to put another string on them. And yesterday I pruned all the tomatoes, so they're good to go. Both these rows here are all different varieties of tomatoes. These are the tallest, Amish paste. They're growing so fast. Getting tomatoes on them. Little tomatoes. Caleb's checking out the tomatoes. He just noticed some suckers that need to be pruned. I did most of my pruning down low, so probably need to come through and prune some of those off, unless you want to. Look how tall this tomato's getting. It's trying to go up the trellis.
Potato?
Did I say tomato?
Yeah.
Oh, potato. Yeah, these potatoes, I think they're the purple variety, and the plants get enormous. They're completely blocking the whole pathway on either side.
Mom, for that back pathway, do you want me just to weed it all and then put down bags and then pea gravel?
Yep, that sounds good.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I really like your pathway that you made. past the hydrangea. Nathan and our good friend Mark were the ones that made that pathway.
Yep.
It's beautiful. This just fell on the ground behind me. It's one of our Gravenstein apples. They're almost ready to harvest. They still need a few more weeks. So this one's going to be tasty though, I think. It got just big enough. Yay! Oh, skiers. Well guys, thanks for walking through the gardens with me today. As you can see, there's a lot of fun projects for us to do. I love being in the garden. So all of this seems like a lot of work, but to me it's a lot of fun work. So I enjoy it. Just realized I forgot this yesterday. I try and this time of year go through and get all the fruit tree branches out of the pathway so we're not having to brush past them. So I need to get this one off. Okay, so I definitely pruned from my head level, not Caleb's.
Yep. If any of you have some good tips for managing gardens, please leave them in the comments below.
Thank you as always to our patrons who make these videos possible. We really appreciate you guys. Skeeters. Until next time, we pray blessings over you and yours, and whatever you do, do it with your whole heart.
Could use a little work.